Here's the scenario. You signed up for a big gravel race and you own multiple sets of fast, racy tires. But on race day, there's forecast to be a strong crosswind. What to do? Okay, let's back up. I signed up for a couple big gravel races this year, and I'm nervous about the wind issue. So I have a pretty good understanding of the Schwalbe 2.25 Thunderburts, as well as the 45 G1 RS. I ran the 45s all last year, and this year I've only run the Burts. The wheels that I'm running this year are the Noble 45s. So this is their deeper dish road wheel set. It's a great wheel set. And what I've noticed is that when the wind is more than like 12 miles an hour, the front end gets real squirrely, getting pushed around in the wind. And I'm nervous that this is going to be a hindrance in a race scenario. And I figured if I was feeling this way, others might be as well. So I devised a test to help me determine which tire performs better in a crosswind. So basically this test involves a local time trial. The sections of this time trial are going to be made up of a flat paved section that's going to be probably about 5 or 6 minutes, a paved climb, a steep gravel climb, followed by a rolling gravel section that's going to give way to another paved section that will most likely be a headwind based on prevailing wind directions, followed by a short paved section to end with. So because of that, we can kind of assume that the 45s, just like if all else was equal, that the 45s are going to be a little bit faster just because of the amount of pavement. This test is not whether or not Thunderburts or G1 RS are faster. We all have access to that data. It depends on the terrain type, how much gravel there is, how much paved climbing there is. Like that's all. We're not testing that today. I'm going to track my segment times and power output just so we have something to look at there. But really today's test is how do these tires compare in a crosswind? And the crux question for me is what feels less sketchy? A 45 that's going to get blown around less, but also has less traction on the ground, or a 2.25, which is going to get blown around more, but has more traction on the ground. Okay, so before we get going on the test, I wanted to measure the, how much space between the inside of the rim and the outside of the tread of the tire is on each one, just to sort of get like a sense of the difference in size. Okay, so here's the Burt's on there, and that's coming in at about 96 millimeters. Okay, so that is 96. So I'm just thinking about this from the standpoint of the amount of surface area exposed to that crosswind. Let's take a look at these 45s. Okay, and our measurement for the 45s is, it looks like 83 is what I'm reading on there. Yeah, 83 millimeters. So that's approximately a centimeter difference surface area, multiplied by both the front and rear. So that's significant. My guess is that the 45s will be faster, not only because of the pavement, but also on the paved section, I'll get blown around less on there. So it's going to favor them even more. But there is only one way to find out. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're on day one of the test. Got I would say a decently breezy day. I think it's blowing between about 12 to 15 miles per hour. So not super, super windy, but definitely noticeable. Test one on the 2.25 Burt's. Here we go. Lap timer starts now. Off we go. Yeah, crosswind is a lot. Woo. Paved climb. That hill is the crux. Okay. God. Well, that was sub 26. That's probably pretty good. Oh, well, that'll wake you up. All right, while I'm here, I want to give my first impressions of this test. So, most of it was a crosswind, which is kind of what I wanted to test. You know, like that's going into a headwind. You know, I know the Burts are less aero than the G1s, but you know, I feel like a lot of times rolling resistance benefits on Cat 4 gravel will probably, you know, make up that difference. So I'm not worried about that. Crosswind, definitely on the pavement going out. I was definitely getting blown around for sure. On the climbs, they felt great. You know, they're definitely heavier than the G1s, but being a larger volume tire, there's definitely a traction benefit there, and I was able to actually get completely out of the saddle in a couple of moments and maintain grip. So that felt really good. On the descents, obviously, they feel great. And you know, this is an interesting course because there is so much pavement on it, and then the gravel is, you know, it's really steep. There's a couple really steep parts, but you know, for the most part, it's more of like, I would say like a Cat 1 or 2 gravel. So nothing super chunky on it that you would actually like really need Burts. So we're definitely like in the realm of a gravel course that I think would benefit more from the G1s than the Burts, but we will just have to wait and see. It is a couple days later now. I got the G1 RSs mounted up. Those are in the 45 mil. Wind direction is the same, basically the same direction as first test, blowing maybe just a touch stronger than the other day. So this will be a good test for the smaller tires. All right, let's hit it. Starting same spot, same head in, lap timer at the same spot. Here we go on the 45s. And we are in it. Okay, so far the 45s feel like they are a little better in a crosswind, doing 25 miles an hour, but I feel okay. First pace climb. Here's the crux. Couple more climbs. Oh my God, that's so hard. Finished my segment, and my lap timer definitely showed that it was a little bit faster. I'm gonna get home and we'll look at the data there. And this is like a side note, everyone. So where I live, Moscow, Idaho, there is this phenomenal cycling community here. And the segment I'm doing these tests on is also one that every Friday, a lot of the mountain bikers and gravel bikers and whatnot in town get together and do these time trials on it. And so we're gonna go back out onto the course and cheer all our friends on. Yeah, go, 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 go! Yeah, Abby! Push, 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 push! Woo! Yeah, go, go, go! Woo! Yeah, nice! Nice, Matt, come on, come on! Come on, dig deep! You got it! Push, push, push! All right, we are back at the house. The data is in, so let's just get into it. On the flat road section with the crosswind, the Thunderburts did 5 minutes and 43 seconds at 273 watts, and the G1 RSs did 5 minutes and 21 seconds with 272 watts. The road climb with the Burts was 3 minutes and 25 seconds at 259 watts. The G1 RS's was 3 minutes 17 seconds with 257 watts. The steep gravel climb with the Burts was 2 minutes 57 seconds at 282 watts. And the 45 G1 RS's was 2 minutes and 43 seconds at 289 watts. The total combined gravel section from like the moment I hit the gravel to the moment I left the gravel was 9 minutes 59 seconds at 242 watts. That was with the Thunderburts. And with the G1RSs was 10 minutes and 3 seconds at 249 watts. The headwind section, which was a flat section heading out, was 3 minutes and 5 seconds at 245 watts for the Thunderbirds, and 3 minutes and 7 seconds at 245 watts with the G1RSs. The overall time for the whole lap with the Thunderbirds was 25 minutes 35 seconds with an average power of 247 watts. And the overall time with the 45 millimeter G1RSs was 25 minutes and 7 seconds at 250 watts. So with all that, I did notice some interesting patterns. Even with the messiness of real-world testing, it was obvious to me the strengths and weaknesses of these two tires and when you might choose one over the other. This is all to say that the 45s overall did much better than the Thunderbirds on this test, which is exactly what I predicted because there's so much pavement on it. This is, proportionally speaking, this is more pavement, way more pavement than I will be seeing on the races I'll be doing this summer. One of the things that stood out to me was that the Thunderbirds went faster on the gravel section for less power. So on gravel, the Burts are absolutely still faster. And when you have kind of that mixed terrain where it's a lot of pavement and some gravel, the 45s went faster, which also I don't think that should come as a surprise to anybody that's in the know on these tires. Okay, but now I want to get into the crosswind talk, which was really the thing that I was looking at in this test. So on the flat paved section with the big crosswind, I was definitely getting blown around a lot on the Thunderbirds. Multiple times. It was, you're kind of like doing one of these things, where you get blown and you got to bring it back. At one point I was just kind of like leaning into the wind just to kind of like make it work. On the gravel section, which kind of like is sort of parallel to the road section, like when you're coming back, you get a crosswind again. And there was definitely a couple points where I was being blown around a lot. Actually, at one point I had like a double wheel drift. I was blown so hard. So that definitely gives me pause running the Burts in a race scenario. The 45s, by comparison, definitely less sketchy in the crosswind. On the road section on the way out, I was getting moved around a little bit, but it wasn't nearly as much as the Burts, and it actually was a windier day. And then on the return on the rolling gravel section, I was blown around a little bit there, but not as much as I was with the Thunderbirds. That said, I know it's kind of hard to say. I definitely felt maybe a little sketchier on the gravel section with the 45s, just because they're a smaller tire and any sort of interference, you feel like it's a big deal. Whereas with the Burts, it does feel more forgiving because they're such a larger tire. So I think my key takeaway from this test is that overall, I prefer the Burts over the 45s. I guess I should say I prefer a fast rolling mountain bike tire over a 45 millimeter gravel tire if all else is equal. And also that there are moments where if the wind was high enough and strong enough that I would definitely go with a smaller tire. I should also note that these two races that I'll be doing over the summer, I will not have access to my full arsenal of wheels and equipment. I will have one set of gravel wheels. They're going to be those Noble 45s. That's it. So changing the wheel, which would be kind of the logical thing to do, is actually not an option for me in these particular races. So the only thing for me to do is to downsize the tire. Well, I know that in the process of making this video, I gained a lot. Definitely was helpful to do this tire comparison. Definitely worth the effort of swapping over the tires and running these tests multiple times. So I hope you got as much out of it as I did. If you're looking for another video like this, you can check out this video right here, and we will see you in the next one.